Hello everyone and welcome to the final highlights video for Season 3 of the CG Open Invite. And in this video we're of course going to be unveiling who the grand winners are and getting their prize support. Now the winners of course already know, I've already been in contact and already have their prizes, but we're going to be displaying the best duels of the final round of the CG Open Invite. Now the next one will be beginning around halfway through April. I believe the 17th is the date. Registration opens on the 10th, so if you're interested in participating in this competition going forward, again, feel free to hop into the Discord, come and ask, have a read over the rules, see if it suits you, and if we get enough members we're even going to drive the prize support up. In this last event we had 16 members. I think if we can get this number up closer to, I would say, 25 to 30, we can definitely double the prize support, which would of course be really good. So absolutely, if you're interested in this sort of thing, hop into the Discord even just to ask, to speak to some of the previous participants, see what it's like, so you're not just seeing this side of it. Of course, you know, you want to get all the information you can. And even if you don't join in, the Discord's just a really nice place to be. You can ask questions, throw ideas out, and just generally chat to people about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything else really. But without any further ado, let's get into the replays. Alright, getting into the match between myself and Kaiba Grouper here. We're going to start off zombies versus branded Predaplants. So we're going to draw two, bashing our Banshee because we already have another one in hand, which is useful. We're going to drop Balladrock to Grave, summoning out the Banshee so we can banish her from the field to grab ourselves a zombie world. We're simply going to set one and pass. Now, the opponent here, they're not going to be happy when they watch this back and they realize that we could have used Cult by the Grave on the Balladrock and we just chose not to. I was curious, you know, what are you going to do? They're going to resurrect Balladrock here from the graveyard, and now that's two interruptions baked into one. I was curious to see if we could play through it, and we'll just try our best here. We're going to go and summon our Aliber. Aliber, of course, gets negated by the Balladrock, which is a good play. You sort of have to hope that I don't have Branded Fusion in that situation. Unfortunately, we did, and we're able to send monsters to the graveyard to summon out Albion. Now, in the Predaplant version, we send Stacy or Ramarin because she's able to pitch a few plant monster, from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard when she's sent to the grave. Typically, you would send the Fusion monster to the grave, but the Imperm and the Doom King mess up our plan quite significantly. So we are definitely going to have to find a new way around this. Imperm, of course, negating Albion. Albion is banished now, so we lack the fusion material. So instead of sending the fusion monster, we send the Biblisp. Biblisp then grabs us the frog from the deck. Now the frog basically acts as polymerization once per turn, allowing us to fusion summon out the Predaplant fusion. So now on summon, it's going to search our deck, add from graveyard back to hand the Biblisp, because we already had all our useful cards in play. Going to tribute Aliber, summon out the Orpho Scorpio, which will then discard a card to summon Darlington and Cobra. Darlington and Cobra will be able to search our deck for any polymerization or fusion card. So we're going to search our deck for Super Poly, which is broken, right? They're able to steal our Aliber from the grave. Now Aliber will trigger off to grab them Branded Fusion directly from their deck, which is pretty dope. We're going to Super Poly here, discarding the Biblisp to bring out Predaplant Trifovertum. Now unfortunately we're just shy of lethal here. We're going to swing in 12, 1k and 3000 to get as much damage as we can. Unfortunately, we're just shy of lethal here. We decide, you know what, we can't deal with Balladrock twice in a row. We are going to banish it now, because if we don't, we're going to lose, right? We're going to get rid of Tragedy. We're going to recycle Branded Fusion for next turn, and we're simply going to sit and wait. Jacobolon does return to the opponent's field. I top deck it into the zombie world, which isn't great, but they've got the Necronase. Necronase stealing our Trifovertum. They're going to go Branded Fusion now. They're going to send from deck to graveyard to summon out Lubellion, the Searing Dragon. Lubellion, the Searing Dragon, then, as well as Glow Up Bloom, are both going to activate their effects. The Chain Link order is very important here, and our opponent does get it right. You have to do Glow Up Bloom Chain Link 1, because that locks you in the zombies. So we're going to go Mirror Jade by shuffling my Trifovertum back into the deck, so we get it shuffled back. And the Mirror Jade makes its way out alongside a Chang-Chi. Now, unfortunately, our opponent's only playing the one Balladrock, so they're going to pitch in Agul Mizera here, which protects all of their monsters from destruction, which is pretty awesome. They're going to wipe out our field. They're going to start swinging at us directly here, and it's not looking good. It's really not looking good for us. They have that Mirror Jade banished. They're protected from destruction by that Agul Mizera. We hit Call by the Grave, which isn't the most useful card in the world, but we'll make it work. We're going to summon out Albion one more time. Albion then, of course, being able to banish monsters from the graveyard as material. He's going to summon to his side of the field the fusion monster in our grave by getting rid of his Jacobolon. That's fine. Albion, banishing 2 from grave to bring out Lubellion. Now we have a bit of a play lined up here. We're going to go Lubellion, discard 1 to shuffle back 2 to summon out Dragostapelia. Now this is where our opponent attempts to banish us. We're going to activate Dragostapelia here, targeting and negating the Mirror Jade while giving it a Predator counter. And this is where it all turns around, because now we're able to use the frog, or sorry, Biblisp also resummons itself, but that's whatever. The frog activates, fuses 3 together into Trifovertum, and because this guy gains the attack points of all monsters on the field who currently possess a Predator counter, meaning he goes up 3000 thanks to the Mirror Jade, and that is lethal. There you go, 2 different branded strategies head to head, and the plants came out ahead of the zombies, you know. That's just the way it is. But it was an amazing set of games there from our opponent. It was a 2-0 victory to ourselves, but again, very, very well played. Alright, getting into our match between Reinstraver and Roe here. We're going to start with Magician's Rod, grabbing a Magician Navigation from our deck, tributing off the Rod to bring out our Silent Magician, sitting at 3000 attack points with a built-in spell negate. We're going to have to see how Crystal Beasts get past this one. We're going to go for Awakening of the Crystal Beast here, revealing a Rainbow Dragon, but we're going to get negated by the Silent Magician, stopping the search for our card. However, we do have a second Awakening of the Crystal Beast, the Crystal Ultimate, sorry, so it didn't really do an awful lot in the end. We're going to grab our Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, of course being the, well, heart and soul of the deck. Bringing out the Sapphire Pegasus, setting the Rainbow Dragon into the Spell Trap card zone, bouncing Silent Magician back to hand before swinging in for 18. Now we're going to go into Rainbow Bridge of the Heart main phase 2, activating it to pop the Rainbow Dragon actually to grab Miracle. Okay, not exactly the play I was expecting, but the play we're going to be seeing nonetheless. They're simply going to set a card and have to end their turn. Unfortunately, Silent Magician bricking a little bit here on all of their non-summonable monsters. We're going to go Conclave, bouncing the face down card back to hand, and moving back into our Crystal Beast turn here. So we're seeing a bit of control, as we like to see with the Crystal Beast, bringing out Pegasus, resetting the Zenith from the graveyard before popping it again to grab Crystal Bond. Crystal Bond then's going to basically grab a Rainbow Dragon directly from the deck while setting a Pegasus onto the field. We swing with Pegasus, triggering the Rainbow Dragon in hand to summon itself. Then we swing for an extra 3000 damage. So our Silent Magician has 1 turn left to make a play to see if they can turn this around, and they draw into Curry Bandit. We're going to normal summon the Curry Bandit, but unfortunately it doesn't do very much. During the end phase, we tribute it to check the top of our deck to see if we can grab a card amongst them, but again, looking at our opponent's field here, it's not looking as though we're going to be able to use very much among them. We're going to pitch a bunch of cards to the grave, which would have been a good play earlier in the duel. Definitely, for sure. We're seeing a lot of powerful cards amongst those, but unfortunately, they're not on our hand, and if they're not on your hand, they're not useful. Unfortunate game there. Silent Magicians are breaking a little bit of hard there. We're going to definitely have to work on that going forward, but again, Crystal Beast coming out with a crisp 2-0 victory. Love to see the new cards getting as much love as they are. Alrighty, now we've got our match between ICU and the Gaze TTV. We're going to go Reasoning off the bat. Looks like Eldritch up against Adamantipator. So Adamantipator is not a deck we've seen an awful lot in the event. Again, most people try to use off-meta, staple strategies, but again, we're going to see matches like this, Adamantipator's versus Eldritch on occasion, where people are trying to use some really sort of top strategies as well. Milling an awful lot of cards off of our Reasoning here. We're filling up the graveyard like crazy. What the hell? Making grass look green and look like an amateur. Jesus. We're gonna half the deck into the graveyard. What? Literally half the deck. Over half the deck. We finally hit the Golden Lord, but he called level 10. This is match 3. Duel 3 of the match anyway. So they knew very well that they were playing Eldritch, so they called the level correctly. They're going to banish cards from the graveyard to set up their board as best they can, sending one back to the grave to grab and summon their Golden Lord. Setting up a bit of a wall here, 3500 attack points, can't be destroyed by card effects. They're going to banish their Elixir from the graveyard to grab their Guardian. Now they've got a full back row filled with crazy cards. They've got Needle Seal and Conquistador, Guardian of the Golden Globe, Droplet, and Skill Drain. Looks to be Sprite Adamantipator. That's pretty interesting. There is a lot of really good level 2s in Adamantipator now, with Seeker Researcher and this new card here, lots of really powerful level 2s. Weeping Idol is another one. So Sprite Adamantipator is definitely a pretty valid strategy. We're going to pop the Seeker. They're going to summon out Roxy's. Roxy's, of course, being negated by the Skill Drain, but Roxy's effect will activate primarily in the graveyard to bring Dropsies out to the field, banishing the Sprite starter to get summoning. Now they're going to link off again into the Doodle-Doo. That's going to trigger off Dropsies to summon out another Prank Kid, more likely Roxy's. Yep, here it is. Going into Unicorn. Unicorn's a very interesting play because it doesn't get around... Yeah, it doesn't stop that. Ironically, Smasher was the out. So I think that was just a bit of a misplay here from Zay. Smasher would have outed the skill drain and allowed them to get rid of the Golden Lord at the cost of their Researcher. Still would have been difficult to come back here, bringing out another copy of the Golden Lord, reducing the Unicorn down to 0. Then we're going to tribute summon the Lord of the Heavenly Prisons. When was the last time you saw that thing tribute summoned? We're going to swing in 3k over the Unicorn, 24 over the Researcher, wiping out the whole field here. Now our Adamantivators are in a super rough spot. I think that was a huge misplay on the previous turn, but they top deck into the Adamantivator Analyzer. They just normal summon it though, special summoning out the Weeping Idol, and they just decide, you know what, they can't possibly come back from this. And that's game, a quick and easy one, showing off that even sort of staple strategies like this do hold a place in the event. It's not something that we would super encourage playing, but it is something that you can pick up and use. So yeah, really good gameplays. It was a 2-1 victory for ICU, so well done. Alright, getting into our next match here between Yidis and Narif here. Blue Eyes up against Valence. Unfortunately, no turn 1 play here for Valence. Really at all, looking at it. I mean, I don't know if they could have small world into something useful, but that would have meant dropping their only monster. I don't know enough about Valence to know if there was some sort of issue here, to be honest with you, but they had no play, so they're just going to pass over to Blue Eyes. Return of the Dragon Lords here is going to revive a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard. Unfortunately, our Blue Eyes players not playing some of the modern support. They're sticking to classic Chaos control here with the skill drain, so we're going to see what happens now as a consequence of that. Drawing into the Mad Marquee, so now we've got plays. We're going to go for the field spell here, activating the Mad Marquee, but we're going to hit him with the skill drain. Now this is the third duel of the match. Round 1 went a similar way where Blue Eyes took the win because skill drain slowed down Valence so much they couldn't keep up. We're going to grab Lava Golem here by banishing the Mad Marquee from the deck. Now we're going to go Valence Wars. They're going to grab another copy of the field spell, and I thought that allowed you to also grab Senate Switch, does it not? Am I wrong? Is it a different card? Okay, I guess it's a different card. They're going to take out the Mad Marquee here. Blue Eyes not going for the Siege of Eyes of Blue play. I suppose your extra deck doesn't do you a lot of favors with that skill drain on board, so they're just going to stick to the standard Blue Eyes beatdown, which, you know, makes total sense. We're going to go into some Pendulum plays now. We're going to special summon out, what is the name of this one? The Voltic Viscount. My, these names are nuts. Okay, so we got the Mad Marquee and the Voltic Viscount, and we're going to grab Senate Switch. I knew it let you grab Senate Switch. Yeah, the Senate Switch then is going to allow them to move the Mad Marquee, and then they're going to tribute it for their fusion monster, but unfortunately, without its effect, it's just 2500 attack and defense. The Grand Duke is not doing an awful lot in the face of a Blue Eyes White Dragon, dropping away Stone of Ancients the Grave to summon out the Dragon Spirit of White. Now, the Dragon Spirit of White can dodge skill drain by using its secondary effect. On this occasion, they're not going to, but it is something worth bearing in mind that they can do. They're going to swing directly for 25, and then they're going to pass turn once more. It's not looking good for Valence here. It's just this casual beatdown from the Blue Eyes. They're going to tribute both monsters for Lava Golem here, but unless they've got a plan to defend against the Lava Golem, that's still 3000 attack points. The General Duke, the Duke's going to come out here. It's not big enough to get over it here, just swinging in just as much attack points as Lava Golem's defense. They're really in a rough spot here, and the skill drain is going to stop our Blue Eyes from taking damage as well during the standby phase. We're going to trade in, discard 1, draw 2. We draw into the Chaos form, able to tribute a Blue Eyes in hand to summon the Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon from the hand, and that is going to be enough for game. And there you go. Something as simple as skill drain giving classic Blue Eyes no Dictator, no Jet Dragon, no nothing. All you need is skill drain. Very well played. It was a 2-1 victory here for Narif over Yidis. But either way, both players definitely played very well. Already getting into our match between Stillmill and Devixel. We're up playing Endymion versus CodeTalker, Stillmill's favourite here, CodeTalkers. And Devixel recently in the Discord saying he had reached D level 20 with this deck, which is pretty cool, in the March Duelist Cup. So we're expecting good things here. Jackal then's going to tribute itself, detaching 3 counters to special summon out the Jackal King from the deck. Summoning Endymion from here as well while bringing out the Servant. That's going to give them the ability to link off into Electromite. Electromite's going to grant them a good bit of an advantage here, destroying a face-up card to essentially return Astrograph back to hand. Astrograph then will summon itself out to the field. I don't think we're playing one of the Pendulum spells and traps though. We're not playing a searchable spell or trap. We're instead going to go straight into Apollousa for 3 negates. We got called by, we got some follow-up, and not bad. The triple tactics probably would have helped us out a good bit, but CodeTalker's not drawing into any hand traps here at all. We're going to go Synapse Mining into Lady Debug, dropping, what was that we dropped? Did we drop Called by the Groove? We did, man. Stillmill, ballsy play, not fearing anything. We're going to go Synapse Codec then, activating Optimization. Now we're going to link 2 with the generator in hand, off into CodeTalker. That's going to allow our Synapse Codec to search our deck for a Dark Monster, which is nice. A Code Generator is also going to send a monster from deck to graveyard, but it is going to be hit with Call by the Grave. So we're in an interesting position here where we've got 3 negates on the Apollousa, right? And we really need to choose these 3 negates carefully. Because CodeTalkers can extend for days, right? We also can't really afford to not use them. We need to use them proactively, but effectively. Our optimization gives us an additional normal summon for our Ibli. Ibli then summons itself out to the opponent's field. Synapse Codec then targeting CodeTalker to grab themselves an Earth Cypress from deck. We're grabbing the Gichiri. Gichiri basically is a free special summon as well, while Ibli is a free special summon to your opponent's field. So we're going to have to see how that one plays out. Not sure if I would have made that play. If your plan is to OTK here, I probably would have avoided doing that. We are going to Apollousa negate the the CodeTalker, stopping it from reviving, but we have the Monster Reborn in hand anyways. We're going to bring back the Lady Debug from the graveyard. Then we're going to link 2 off into Update Jammer. That was the key card we were missing. Now we're going to finally link 3 into the Access CodeTalker. I don't know why we wouldn't just link 2, but we wanted the Gichiri's effect to make the Access CodeTalker unaffected. Then we're going to update Jammer for the double attack access code for boosting up to 5300. The only bad thing that could happen now is if that face down was some sort of monster negation, but the Gichiri protects you from that, which is amazing. We're going to banish, we're going to pop, we're going to banish, we're going to pop, we're going to banish, and we're going to pop, wiping out the entire field. 5300 double attack with optimization, making it so your opponent can't activate anything when your CodeTalkers attack. And there you go. CodeTalkers are just unstoppable in this event. Honestly, it's crazy that we don't see it in ranked more often, but Stillmill definitely making the point throughout the entirety of the CG Open invite. The CodeTalkers are not to be taken lightly. Really good play. It was a 2-0 victory to Stillmill here, but the Vixel made a really good attempt at it with the Endymion. I hope he continues to work on the strategy and bring it back next time, because I would love to see that used more effectively. But either way, really good gameplay. Already getting into our match between Tyson 10 and Seymour Butts here. We've got Dark Magician up against Crusadia. Let's see if we can pull out a win here. Both of these contestants have been really powerful competitors the whole way through the event, so it's interesting to see them pitted head to head. Finally, we're going to go souls here off of our Servant. Servant now banishing itself from the graveyard. We're going to draw 1. We draw into Rod because of the Soul Servant. So Rod's going to grab a Circle. Circle's going to grab a card of our choice using Soul Servant. Its stacking effect is not once per turn. We're going to stack Magician's Salvation, and then using our Circle, we're going to grab that Salvation. Now Salvation's going to place an Eternal Soul directly onto our field. Now we've got our full Dark Magician set up here. Tamias ditching Magician's Salvation to summon itself, activating its effect. It's going to fuse itself together with the Dark Magician to bring out the Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. Now this is the full lockdown here. We're also going to go into Verte Anaconda, but now we're going to get tributed for the Nibiru. Really unfortunate before we could go into anything like DPE here. But we still have the Eternal Soul, so we're not out of the game just yet. We still have the ability to come back here. Eternal Soul is going to try and bring back the Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, but for some reason we Cosmic Cyclone the Circle, which is interesting. Not what I was expecting. I would have expected him to take out the Soul here. That is absolutely fine. We're going to go Magnus, Magus, sorry. Magius. Okay, Magius now is going to search their deck for one of their Crusadia monsters, Parallel Exceed, summoning another Parallel Exceed directly from the deck here. It's looking like our Dark Magician players in an awful lot of trouble. They need to find a way to come back from this here. Nibiru is such a powerful card in this strategy. Being able to boost your Equimax up by such a high degree Reclusia is going to basically bounce the Eternal Soul back, or is it going to pop it? It pops it, and protecting itself from destruction using the Arborea in the graveyard. Now you've got no way to recur your Dragon Knight, wiping out the Nibiru token. However, that is going to lower the attack points of your Equimax, but it's not going to lower it by enough. We're going up to 5,000 here. Dugaris coming out here, detaching materials, boosting up the attack points of Equimax to 12,000, and just like that, Crusadia turned the full Dark Magician combo against themselves with the Nibiru, with the Cosmic. He just had the counterplay available in his hand, and there's not very much you can do about that, to be perfectly honest. And that's just the way it happens. So, very well done to Tyson 10, taking a swift 2-0 victory using Crusadia in both matches. Crusadia has been effective. It's been really effective throughout this whole event. It's one of those decks that randomly rose to prominence in the Discord when the Theme Chronicle event had started, whenever the Theme Chronicle was on, and we've been just using it since. And Tyson 10 has been one of the largest champions for the deck since we basically brought it into the Discord, and it's amazing to see it doing so well. So very well done. Already getting into our match between Ace and 6CZ42, we're going to be playing Virtual Worlds against Trickstars. Now, the Virtual World hand not looking so hot, I'm not going to lie. The triple GG is not looking good here, but we are going to have some planes off of emergency teleport. However, we're playing into the Max C, which is a little bit unfortunate. We're going to have to be careful here. Qinglong activating the search. It's going to get hit with the Ash Blossom. Now, at this point, our Virtual World player doesn't exactly have an awful lot of gas, so they decide, you know what, they're going to play it nice and safe. They're just simply going to pass their turn. They can't really afford to play into the Max C for what is essentially just going to be a dilapidated board, right? So they decide they're just going to cut their losses and see if they can play, hopefully just survive this turn. We're going to go Magical Mallet, trading one card out for another, grabbing an Imperm, not super useful. Candina's going to grab Trickstar Festival. We're playing like raw, pure Trickstar. This is pretty dope. We're going to grab Lycoris off of our field spell, and this is pretty interesting, right? So we're going to go Trickstar Festival. Now we're going to link these two off into Diveratus, right? So the way this deck works is burn damage. For anyone who hasn't played with or against Trickstars, and the way it works is your small Trickstars, basically they inflict 200 points of damage if you do a specific action. So with Candina, it's inflict 200 points of damage every time you use a spell or trap. With Deveritus, it's every time you summon a monster, and with Lycoris, it's every time your opponent adds a card to hand, right? Now, the Trickstar late stage, whenever you inflict damage to your opponent, including effect damage by one of your cards, it inflicts another 200 points of damage. So it sort of stacks on top. And then our Dark Room of Nightmare inflicts an additional 300 points of damage every time your opponent takes effect damage, except from its own effect, of course. So that means essentially every time one of your Trickstars activates its effect to inflict damage, your opponent is going to be taking 700 points of damage, 700 taxes anytime that they do any of these things, and an additional bunch of damage whenever you inflict damage as well, because an extra 500 points of damage every time you attack. So you're going to see how quickly the life points tick away here from the Virtual World player. There you go, one action and you're already down by 1,000, right? That's pretty nuts. We're going to swing in, we're going to attack with Candina. There's 18, there's 2, there's 3. So that turns 1,800 damage into 2,300. Now we're going to swap Candina out for Lycoris. There's 16, there's 2, and there's 3. That turns 16 to 21. You can see how quickly the damage stacks up. And now we get 2,600 life points, and we're in a position where anytime we add a card from deck to hand, we take 200, 200, 300 points of damage. We take 700 points of damage just for adding a card to our hand. And then, of course, if we summon something, we take an extra load of damage. Oh no, apologies, you take an extra 600 points of damage off this. That's 1,000 points of damage. That's insane. Yeah, it was doing even more damage than I was thinking. It's 1,000 points of damage per activation, because the Dark Room and Nightmare activates 300 off the Trickstar and then an extra 300 off the late stage. It's 1,000 damage per activation, and yeah, and on our Virtual World, they have no chance. They simply cannot play through it. There you go, it was a 2-0 victory here to Ace. Very well played. Interesting strategies as well. We don't see a lot of Virtual World, but we've never seen Trickstar. So really cool to see it actually out here and doing what it's supposed to be doing. Alright, getting into our final match here, NT07 up against Super Idol. We've got Blue Eyes against Phantom Knights. Now, Phantom Knights is a really powerful deck here. Definitely listed on our rogue section, so it's going to be an uphill battle for our Blue Eyes player, especially considering they get ashed on that awakening. Now we're going to be able to see if the Phantom Knights can take advantage of a full board. Now the only thing is they're not going to be able to negate this Max C, so they will be playing into the Max C challenge. If they don't have lethal, they're going to be struggling because it looks like they're taking the challenge very seriously. So let's see, maybe they're just not worried about Blue Eyes, maybe they just don't think Blue Eyes can do anything. They would be dead wrong. We're going to go into the adventure token here, Fateful Adventure then, the Silent Boots activating Engrave, banishing itself to grab them Brigandine. They're going hard into it here. They're getting Torn Scales from the graveyard, Torn Scales ditching Dracoback to send the Fog Blade, Dracoback then activating to equip itself back onto our token, Fog Blade now activating to resurrect a Phantom Knight from the graveyard, giving them the Ancient Cloak. Now they're going to link off into Dagda. They're deciding to go down the control route. I think if they can lock up the extra deck, well, Blue Eyes can't be that scary, can they? Going into Verte Anaconda activating to trigger off the Dagda as well as Fusion Summon into the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. So they're going to be trying to set up some sort of board control here, safe setting itself to the field as well as summoning out the DPE. Now the only problem with this strategy is that you just gave your opponent a million cards. So they're going to simply set an end. Didn't even go into the battle phase. I don't know if they just forgot they could or what the situation was there. Either way, it wouldn't have been lethal. We're going to go Melody here. Melody discarding the Jet. Now the Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer is going to activate, destroying both itself and the Scythe. Melody is going to grab them the Royal Rare Alternative Dragon as well as a regular alternative. Now that's going to trigger Scythe in the graveyard as well as DPE. Now we're going to quickly chain to that Ultimate Fusion. Basically allowing our Blue Eyes player to Fusion Summon as a quick play effect. We're going to shuffle 2 cards back. We're going to summon out the Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. Absolutely nutty card here. This is going to generate a ton of offense. I don't think our Phantom Knights player anticipated something quite like this. We're going to go Melody yet again, discarding Jet to grab Blue Eyes and a third alternative. Now we're going to be able to summon out the alternative by revealing the Blue Eyes White Dragon, specialing out the Dictator of D by sending a Blue Eyes to grave, activating its effect, pitching alternative to resurrect the Jet. Again, we're just generating so much momentum here. Now we're going to go into the battle phase. Tyrant wipes out Scythe. When Scythe is destroyed, Jet triggers to summon itself from the graveyard. Now nothing on the field can be destroyed, and there is absolutely zero chance you survive the onslaught that is Tyrant wiping out all of your monsters and then the 3 direct attacks from the Blue Eyes Dragons. Simply no way to survive that. But again, it was a very decent attempt there. Phantom Knights maybe should not have taken the Max C challenge, but again, it just goes to show it doesn't matter how much more powerful your deck is than your opponents or how much you believe so, never play in the Max C. And here we have them, the final results of the CG Open event. We can see here Stillmill taking top spot with 1600 points, 628 points, playing the whole event through with CodeTalkers the entire time. Very rarely was a game going past turn 2 with this guy, absolutely demolishing people with the Access CodeTalker. Absolutely fantastic. Then you have Tyson 10 who rocked the whole event using his Crusadia deck. Absolutely, yet again, a sort of going second one-shot based strategy. So Crusadia saw a lot of success in the event. And then we have AJS Seymour Butts who played a lot of Dark Magician, who played a lot of Plunder Patrol and claimed the 3rd spot. Again, it really was a toss-up after last week. You can see that AJS Seymour Butts and Stillmill were tied for 1st place. So here we have how it all was fizzled out. Again, Tyson 10 taking the win over AGS in the final round, seal the outcome of the competition, but all 3 and everybody else in the top cut as well. I mean, looking down, Reinstraver just barely missed the top cut, MT07 not too far behind. All of these participants were performing absolutely amazingly throughout the entire event, and again, it really is just down to one turn, one competition, one duel to shift around the entire results table. So again, it's been an absolute blast being able to record and commentate and run the whole event, and we will be starting season 4 in April. So again, if you're interested, hop in and get chatting to the guys who are on the results table, get chatting to other people in the Discord, do whatever you want. If it's something you're interested in, of course you can hop in, free entry like it says on the screen. And with that, I'll let you get back to your day. You take care now.